Welcome, everyone. I'm Mark Friedman, the interim president and CEO of the Jewish Federation of Broward County. I want to wish you all a Lashana Tova, Happy New Year, as we begin 5782. We thought that today we would have a discussion with a member of our team, Elizabeth Duran, and we'd talk about 9/11. Elizabeth was just a young girl back in 2001, living in Brooklyn, and witnessed the events of that entire day. You know, in Judaism and also in life, there are very few degrees of separation. More than almost 3,000 people perished that day in New York and at the Pentagon and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and we all have some kind of connections. That's what the high holidays teach us about, how the interconnectedness of each of our lives plays a role and influences throughout our years. But today we're going to listen to Elizabeth and hear of her experiences on September 11th, 2001. Elizabeth, I'm glad you're here joining us to talk about your experience. Tell me briefly what happened that day and what your initial thoughts were.
I was in class. We lived in Brooklyn, New York. Just remember when a teacher came in running into our classroom, and she said, oh my God, I just got the news. The World Trade Center, a plane had just crashed into it. The teacher, we had a huge window and we all freaked out and we were like, what's going on? So we all ran towards the window and we looked up and we just saw like black smoke hitting towards Manhattan. You can see the World Trade Center from Brooklyn. They put an announcement and it just became into a huge rush. Parents came running in to go pick up their kids. I remember crying thinking, the world is ending, where's my mom? I don't know what to do. When we started running back home, we just saw like in Brooklyn, everything was going into smoke, papers flying everywhere. When we got home, my mom tried calling my aunt, phone lines were down. She was supposed to come into work that day. She works right beside the World Trade Center. And when we got there, we finally got in touch with her. She was okay. My neighbor was actually on her way to Manhattan. She came back walking home from Manhattan to Brooklyn. It was a very tragic day. It was very scary as a little child, not knowing what is going on and thinking that the world is ending and,
So you really didn't understand at that point that it was an act of terrorism?
No.
Okay, and I think a lot of people didn't understand the magnitude of what was happening that day.
No.
And that kind of is tied into the message of Yom Kippur, that there are so many things that happen in our lives, things that we can control and things we can't control. And Yom Kippur teaches us when something bad happens, if you've hurt somebody or they've hurt you, that you have the opportunity on Yom Kippur to make amends, to go to that person and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. And that is the act of forgiveness, of repentance. Are there things after 9/11 where you felt you had regrets, where you were able to change the nature of a relationship?
I had learned to live your life like it's your last and to enjoy the moment. And when you have, when you go through something with someone or you have, or get into an argument with someone, I've learned to just forgive because you don't know if it's their last day.
And I think we talked about that before. There were 3,000 people that either went to work or were going shopping or getting on an airplane, and their relatives, their loved ones didn't have that chance to say goodbye. Perhaps there were some that were planning to have a discussion about something that was impacting their lives that they were uncomfortable about. So I think that Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, all of the high holidays, do teach us about the preciousness of life and that we always strive and have the opportunity to be a better person. I understand that your husband, Gregory, is a first responder. You were both in elementary and middle school at the time, but how did 9/11 affect Gregory and his perspective on the important work that he does?
I think it has inspired him to help others, and I guess when he saw that it impacted his life to see how heroic those firefighters were at 9/11. So I guess he also wanted to.
So even in tragedy, he found some inspiration and gained the desire to help others in the way that those brave firefighters ran into those buildings on September 11th and made the ultimate sacrifice. So I think what we've learned in this brief discussion, and Elizabeth, thank you so much for sharing your personal experiences with us, is that each of us holds the key to open the door to a better life. And at Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that is the special responsibility that all of us have, to open up the door to better living, to a better life, to stronger values, to committing ourselves to be the best person that we can be, and making sure that in essence we've crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's as we move ahead. And to all of you, again, I wish you a happy and healthy New Year. I wish you an easy fast. Gemar Hatima Tova. May you be inscribed in the book of life on this Yom Kippur, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.